Okay, good morning. I'm Bill Shaw from the Great Plains Laboratory, and I'm going to be talking about some of the newer treatments in the field of autism. I may have mentioned a couple of these in less detail yesterday, but we're talking in greater detail today. And most of these are covered in my new book, Autism Beyond the Basics. It's available at the bookstore over here, together with the book on the fundamental treatments. And so all of this material is very up to date and is very useful. So having this set of books will give you a great opportunity to follow up with the information you're hearing over the weekend. And the first one I'm going to talk about is low cholesterol and the discovery of it as a major new factor in the diagnosis and treatment of autism. I put up I have a couple of slides of my hometown, Kansas City, and I put these up as kind of a defense, because some people, when they hear Kansas City, they go, and to show that it's a decent looking place, and it's kind of interesting that the architect who designed this whole area of the city called the Plaza went to Seville in Spain. The Spanish call it Sevilla, and used Sevilla as the architectural model for this section of Kansas City. And so when I have visitors, I say that that when people go to Seville, the people there say their city was modeled after Kansas City. And I got a little bit defensive because I was on a Southwest Airlines flight, and Southwest Airlines has the reputation of having people, pilots and flight crew, who are sometimes a little bit of a smartass. And so for the whole time, the pilot cracked jokes about which member of the crew was sleeping with whichever other member of the crew in the middle of the horses, and all this personal information was discussed and jokes made about it during the flight. When we arrived in Kansas City, he said, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the wonderful town of Kansas City. Those on the right side of the plane, look out your window. What do you see? Dirt. Lots and lots of dirt. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those on the left side of the plane, look out of your window and look at this wonderful view, and what do you see? More dirt. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you for whom Kansas City is the final destination, please find another travel agent as soon as possible." So this is my defense of Kansas City. And I want to start with talking about a disease called SLOS, because it was the key to unlocking a new finding about autism. And the name SLOS is an acronym, which means the letters stand for the initials of something, and the initials they stand for are the people who discovered this disease. Dr. Smith, S, Lemley, L, Opitz, and the S stands for syndrome. And it was a devastating disease that was suspected of being of genetic origin, because some couples had more than one child who had this same disease. And when you have two children with the same disease, there's always a suspicion that there could be a significant genetic factor. But the exact genetic factor, what was causing the disease, wasn't known until fairly recently, in which it was found that every child who had this disorder had extremely low cholesterol. And you would think, with all the stuff there is on TV about bad cholesterol and everything, that these children would be very healthy. And what they found was the exact opposite. These children were very sick, and that the lower the cholesterol, the sicker they were, with some children actually having zero cholesterol. And I don't want you to ask me about is this the bad, is this the good, the HDL, the L. This is all the cholesterol, and some of the kids was 0. And they, as in many genetic diseases, the compound that was normally modified by an enzyme was accumulated. So this is like a log jam. When you have a log jam, everything accumulates upriver where the log jam is. So the same is true in biochemistry. So 7-dehydrocholesterol accumulated because there was a log jam, a particular enzyme further down, which I'll describe shortly, was not functioning correctly. And 75% of the children who had this disease were on the autistic spectrum. So this was an astounding fact for me when I first found out about this. I thought this could be an important clue to autism, and I decided to look more into it. And it was found that the children had a characteristic toe in which the second and third toes are not separated, but they're fused together and making the letter Y. There's also a lack of speech, severe behavioral abnormalities, frequent temper tantrums, hyperactivity, violent outbursts, destruction of property, self-mutilation, all symptoms that are common in people with autism. And the thing that wasn't common in people with autism is that they had ultraviolet light sensitivity. So that was a unique feature. These are two brothers who have this disorder, and the characteristics are this fold under the eyes. They're called epicanthal folds, and this is usually not present in Caucasian children. However, a lot of Oriental people have this. So Oriental people have this, most Oriental people have this, so they don't have the SLOS disease. But when Caucasian people have it or blacks have it, then it could be a characteristic of this illness. The nose was short, so kind of a pug nose, and the chin was smaller than usual. So those are the common, these are two brothers who have the disorder. And this is the characteristic feature. So if a child has autism and has these toes, more than likely they may have this particular genetic disease. And there's all variants, from people who have absolutely 0 cholesterol to people who have cholesterol that is close to the normal range. So the severity of the illness depends on the amount of cholesterol. And what was funny is when my secretary was preparing some slides for me, and I heard a scream in the other room, "That's my toe! That's my toe!" And so my secretary has the SLOS toe, even though she has normal cholesterol and doesn't have autism. So there are people who have this toe and who don't have SLOS. But if a child has this toe and autism, there's a high likelihood they may have this problem, and the biochemical testing can find out for sure if that's what it is. So something like 99% of people with SLOS have this shaped toe.